And hello, movie lovers, and welcome to tonight's show. I have my good friend Michael with me. We're going to be talking about Stephen King. We're going to do some speculations into what we would like to actually see for Welcome to Derry. That's actually the new Stephen King series that's going to be premiering on HBO Max soon. And we're going to do a deep dive into that, deep dive into the turtle. Yeah, I might be one of those conspiracy theorists that's going to be talking about turtles. But you know what you guys need to do real quick? Go ahead, go over to Good Pods, go over to Spotify, go over to Apple Podcasts as well. Rate us over there. That helps other people to go ahead and find us on Apple Podcasts and all major platforms. So go on ahead, do all that, and for further ado, let's do this. All right. And I just want to say welcome, Michael, for coming on here to talk about Stephen King. You know, you and I, we've been trying to do something together ever since we did, 2 episodes together? Isn't that right? Okay. Well, I think that he does. I think there might be something going on Mike's end. But, you know, like I said, I'm actually excited to talk about this on what we were going to be doing here. So, no, your sound is on now.
There's a lot of clicking here.
Yeah, there you go. I hear you.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, so like I said before, we've been trying to do another show together for a while now. And the last one that we did was the Hubie Halloween episode.
Yes.
And, you know, so going into this thing, I know that you and I are huge fans when it comes down to Stephen King and his properties and stuff like that. So when you first saw the news of the fact that they're going to do Welcome to Derry, what was your first instincts?
I was very excited. You know, just watching the newer It had a lot of similarities with the old one with the darker tone. And that's what I really like about the anything Stephen King. He's got a very eerie undertone to his novels, whether he's writing about vampires or clowns or, you know, it's been like in Storm of the Century, that type of movie, that type of atmosphere. I'm a huge horror fan, and so anything that's got, you know, he doesn't use a lot of jump scares. He uses a lot of atmosphere. He uses a lot of descriptions. So if it's anything like that, I'm very excited for it.
Same here as well, because here's the thing. I love it. I love Stephen King. I love Pennywise, to be honest with you, as a character who's actually haunting, menacing, gets into your whole entire fears and everything, and then eats at you and everything too. But, you know, another thing I want to mention is this. Like, some people don't realize this if you haven't read the novels or anything like that, but there's a lot of connectivity whenever you look at the turtle. And Abby from Motor City Nerds touched on this a lot deeper than I did whenever the news broke about Welcome to Derry. But in case anybody doesn't know about the turtle is of massive size with an ancient appearance. Mutron existed long before the creation of the mainstream universe and Stephen King's novels, of course. By nature, Mutron was kind of wise, loving, gentle, compassionate, and and everything, and had a very grandfather-like demeanor when he spoke to humans. Mutron was said to be constantly withdrawn into his shell, sleeping and rarely ever coming out for anything. And then, of course, on one occasion that Martin did come out of his shell was when he had a stomach ache, which caused him to vomit out the mainstream universe, after which he promptly retreated back into the shell because of that. A creature that existed in the vomit within the microverse and was, of course, let me go in my notes, sorry, was an adversary of Morton, described by the later as his brother. Consider the turtle to be old, lazy, and stupid. However, given his vast amount of wisdom, power, and the aid Morton provided to those in need of it, his precautions of him seem to be false. So, going off of that, too, I just want to point out this. he's actually linked over to. Is also linked over to the Dark Tower series. It's also linked over to other stories within the Stephen King universe. So that is something that I really have to say that they did a fantastic job on. When Stephen King when you look at Stephen King properties. So what do you think about that?
I think it's great. I think Stephen King was one of the first ones to tie in his whole universe. So kind of ahead of his time. A lot of tie-ins with the Turtle in the Dark Tower, Salem's Lot with Father Callahan in the Dark Tower. So very interesting when you're reading through King to see all the little hints that he drops on how his universes are connected.
Exactly, and also too, people don't realize this too, but he was largely as a spectator to the events that unfolded in the battle between it and the Losers Club. Martin only involved himself and advised the young Bill Denborn during the ritual of Chud in 1958, with Gan provided the losers with most of their strength. Martin intentionally politely introduced himself to Bill, and upon his plea for him, simply stated that he took no stand in the matter at hand. However, after considering his brother with some disdain and contempt, Martin just swiftly provided great counsel and advice to the young man, assuring that it was ultimately afraid of Bill, human potential, and of the turtles himself. Martin ultimately urged Bill to battle the monstrous being with his willpowers, mental strength, and eternal faith and belief. With the turtle's encouragement and support, Bill overpowers and badly wounds it, forcing it into the retreat before once again retreating into his colossal shell for another untold lengthy slumber. And then, of course, Mortron compliments Bill on the victory, but sadly cautions him to finish it off once and for all, and he may not get another opportunity to do so. So that's just a little bit more of a deep dive into stuff that I know about this. But like I said, Abby went on a full-on thing about Turtles, about how it's linked over to the Dark Tower series and things like that. That's something that I actually think that might actually happen, to be honest with you. Hey, Rossi, how are you? It's good to have you in the comments section. I missed you last night, but I understand that you were sick and everything, but I hope that you're feeling better. But, another thing, though, too, is I'm hoping that they actually link the Dark Towers into Derry, because I believe that, with the Dark Tower and with the Turtle and stuff like that, everything feeds off this one town and also feeds off the Dark Tower. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Dark Tower is linked somehow. And I'm hoping that we actually have a way of actually having a Dark Tower series with this in Derry, in a sense.
Yeah, I mean, after watching their first adaptation of the Dark Tower, I really wasn't impressed. So hopefully this can lead into a series that does a little more of a deep dive into his universe.
Same here as well. And, I know that you've just recently also, too, you actually read the book for Salem's Lot. Not only that, but I know you're a huge Salem's Lot fan, because that's one of your favorite books as well. So when you look at Derry, when you look at Salem's Lot, do you hope that they actually incorporate some characters within this world for Welcome to Derry?
I hope they do. I don't think they're going to incorporate characters. I think they're going to do maybe little Easter eggs here and there. I think that would be more practical if for Derry, it's going to focus on Derry. They really, I don't think they want to tie into the entire universe just yet. But if they drop little Easter eggs, here and there, talk about Barlow and Straker's Fine Antiques at some point, or, Jerusalem's Lot, call it by, its original name. I think that would be, it would be more beneficial for the show just to focus on Derry.
I agree. To be honest with you, I think that if they put Dark Tower into this series, it would be too much. And it, to me, is a bigger character than a bigger character. And if you put the Dark Tower in it, it's going to overshadow Pennywise and also the town and the story that you're trying to tell.
Right. I mean, once the movie It came out, it became really mainstream. A great movie, very well done. But some of the fans of the movie, not knocking on them, but some of them probably hasn't read It or hasn't read most of Stephen King's work. So I think if you start to include, different books, different, it's going to alienate some of the people that just, they probably won't understand, what these hints are.
Right. I think if you keep it as simple as you can and tell the story that you want to tell and give it the simplification of telling that story through the town, because that town is dark. It goes through some dark stuff. And I would like to actually, as a matter of fact, I actually said this before. I thought it was a smart move to actually have a Castle Rock TV series on Hulu, and then that show got canceled right after the second season. And I was thinking to myself, they needed to go ahead, capitalize on it, make it a prequel series out of Castle Rock, and do it that way. But then they canceled it, and then all of a sudden now you have the announcement of, hey, we're going to do Welcome to Derry, and we're going to capture a show before the Losers Club, which I think is phenomenal. I think it's a great idea to do it this way. And then, of course, it is also linked up with Dreamcatcher as well. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I did not know.
Yeah, in the book, not to spoil anything or for anybody, but there is a thing here where basically there's a small nod to the Losers Club. And in that story, whenever one of the main characters is going back over to Derry to pick up one of his friends, which is Dunnets, on his way over there, I believe, they wind up seeing a sign. And on that sign, it shows all 7 characters' names on the sign, and then underneath it, it showed Pennywise's name under it, showing that he killed. Basically, they all got killed. They all got killed by it at some point.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I liked how they kind of how Stephen King gives you a few little small nods to other books and other properties within the world. And I even have to agree with Abby on this. You think that the MCU is convoluted with timelines and following different things, right? Imagining reading a Stephen King novel and trying to link up certain characters from other books and stuff like that too. That stuff is really hard to actually try to link up.
Well, when you try to link everything up, I mean, if you read a Stephen King book, it's pretty detailed. It's a slow burn. He he does a lot of character building. In some chapters, he has a chapter about just the entire town and what they do.
Yep.
Throughout the day, they got little timestamps here and there. So I mean, you really have to pay attention to what you're reading, and you can't just kind of graze through. But you try to adapt that into film, you're in for a long series.
Definitely, because here's the thing, especially in the Stephen King book, there's a long chapter just on the town history itself. That's why I was saying you can do a two maybe 3 seasons of this small town with the town history that was told, because there was over 100 pages, I think, or 200 pages of nothing but just the town history, which I thought was really fascinating. And also, too, Ben was the one who winds up discovering the town history and everything too, because in the movie, it made it seem like that the other member of the Loser Club, I forgot what was the black kid's name. I keep on forgetting.
What's his name, Michael?
Yeah, Michael. What did I forget that? Your name is Michael. But anyways, I'm a dumbass. But anyways, like I said, I think that they made a mistake by changing that. I think Ben should have been the one to discover more of the history, even though he was looking through it in the library. I think that they should have just went on ahead and let Ben have that, because of the fact that he's an architect, he likes history, he likes looking at history. It made more sense for that way. That was just one little small pet peeve I had within the movie itself, but I thought the remake was really good. The 1990s version, don't get me wrong, I love it, but it's outdated now. If you go back and watch it, which I did.
Yeah,
recently.
With Michael, doing all the digging, I think they basically did it for significance of the character, in that aspect. You know, for Stephen King, he likes to focus. He takes care of all his characters. He makes sure they have at least a certain amount of detail in them, just for you to just get a little bit attached to that character, because he'll just use that character in other books and other series.
That's true because I've seen where he used a couple of characters in other books that I've read and everything too. As a matter of fact, even though I didn't like this book, it was called Elevation, and it's like a little small book that you can read, and you can get through that book maybe in 2 days because of how small it is. But there's a character that's in the book that happens to be a doctor that's linked up to the Dark Half. So that was also another way of linking on characters and having them in the same universe. Also, too, even the book Revival, there's also a doctor, I believe, that's actually linked to other books. Also, too, I actually asked you this question. Remember the bargain book place on Salem's Lot?
Yeah.
Now, I know you haven't seen Needful Things, right?
No, not yet.
Okay. So if you watch Needful Things and if you read Needful Things basically takes place in a little small antique shop where this basically, I forgot what kind of demon or something that Neelan Goff is, but what he winds up doing is he winds up selling items to customers, but for a price. They have to go ahead and backstab each other in a certain way, where one person's doing one thing to somebody else and the other person's doing it to somebody else, and they all have enemies among each other. So one of them is thinking that is the other person that they don't like. And in this antique shop, that little antique shop actually reminded me of Needful Things, and that's why I had asked you if that was the Needful Things shop just set up in that town.
Yeah, and I was doing a little bit of research on that, and and I think I talked to you about it. Is Straker or Barlow Straker's Antique Shop is its own different deal. But that's what I like about it. There's a lot of similarities with what he writes, and a lot of his work. There's always the one big bad, and that one big bad has so many layers to him that it just makes all his characters so interesting. And that's actually the next on my list is Needful Things, because after talking about it, and I read what it was about, I was pretty excited. So I'll be going to my local bookstore to go pick it up.
I'll tell you what, I enjoy the book over the movie because there's a lot of of course Stephen King has a lot of details in his books, but I like the book because of the fact that you have more of a history of who Neelan Gaunt is and everything too, because of the fact he's basically like an evil genie in a sense because of the stuff, because he goes all the way back into that kind of period where he's basically selling things to other people.
Right. Kind of like making their dreams come true, but with the price.
Right, exactly. Also, too, you actually get to see a glimpse whenever they touch it. It's like electricity going through them to act, basically looking at the memories of people in the past or memories of their own on the certain items that they used to have. For example, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but there's actually a scene where you have this one kid who wants a Mickey Mantle rookie card, right? And when he touches it, he actually sees Mickey Mantle hitting the home run and running to home plate.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And that's what I like. I'm very, very excited to read the book because he describes things so well, and it translates so well on the screen. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's why his novels are getting adapted like left and right. Just to see his description on what's that like, just reading it. I got a lot of my mind is working when I was reading Salem's Lot on how well he would describe the town, especially when the town starts to, for once they start turning into vampires, he describes the town as dying off, and he does such a good job of explaining why it seems dead. Like the the diner's not as full. Kids aren't running around anymore. He just does a great job in giving you a memory in your mind or a picture in your mind, and that's what I like about it. And I'm when you said it says a shockwave to your body, I'm just very curious on how he pulls that off in the book.
It's very detailed, and also too, he plays with the town sheriff's emotions. He plays with everybody's emotions in this story, everything. So if you're into that kind of storytelling, I recommend it. I highly recommend Needful Things.
That's what I like about Stephen King is whenever it's the bad guy's turn to take the spotlight, whoever his big bad is, he's so almost sadistic with how he plays with the victims, and that's what I really enjoy. He can go from an innocent character describing that person. You want to be around that person, you want to be their friend, but when it comes to the villain, you're like, oh man, this guy's got to go. Like he does such a good job in just switching his mindset when he's writing.
Exactly, because when you think you have one thing figured out, he winds up basically doing a invasion of body swappers in a sense, where he just turns the tables on you without even expecting it. And another big thing is in The Stand, Randall Flagg is also another big bad as well.
Right.
But also too, I want to point this out. The turtle is also one of the 12 guardians of the beings linked to the Dark Tower. And he actually vomited up the universe that it takes place due to his stomachache. That's what I was talking about earlier. The cosmic entity acts so its mortal enemy, and he aided the losers into their battle against the demonic clown in Stephen King's novel. So that's how they were able to take down it. But I've always been interested in this idea of a prequel series. This is something that I really have been wanting ever since basically ever since the 1990s version, and also too ever since we actually had the remakes. So I'm actually excited to see that they're doing it, and if this is actually successful, HBO can actually go ahead and do a Dark Tower series if you think about it,
right?
Because they have the money, they have billions of dollars tied up into their streaming app now, and they're also making original content now. Game of Thrones was probably one of the biggest budgets that they ever had when you looked at special effects, when you looked at everything, and stuff like that. So why not go ahead and go balls deep in doing the Dark Tower?
Right. And you mentioned Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones was such a slow burn in those first two seasons that they really went in depth with the character, and then later on in the seasons they went into character development. They have that kind of freedom with Derry. Because it is going to be, they're not tied down to anything. They can just go about how they want to do it. As far as another series that's out, it's on Epix. It's called Chapelwaite. It's kind of like I wouldn't say a prequel to Salem's Lot, but it ties into it.
So you would say like it's an homage to
it's kind of like that. I mean, they based it loosely off of the novel Jerusalem's Lot, very loosely. I'm going to add that, but it's a slow burn because of their source material. Like the first 4 or 5 episodes, you're kind of like, okay, well, when's something going to happen? And they don't have that problem with the upcoming Derry show. It's going to be great, as long as they keep Stephen King in mind, his universe. They as long as they don't stray away too far from his source or his ideas, I think it's going to be great.
I think so too, because I mean, we could actually see other characters within this world that's in the books, just characters passing each other on the streets, for instance. Little small nods here and there, nothing too major, but letting the Losers Club before. As long as the prequel story before the Losers Club and they don't make it anything else but that, then you're doing great storytelling. You're giving us the source of the information that was labeled into the black and white pages of Stephen King's novel It, and you're able to tell its own story without having to tie in other characters.
Right.
But, I'm excited to see what we have here. This is all to be honest with you, if they would actually make me choose between Obi-Wan or this, I would choose this over Obi-Wan, and that's a big thing for me.
I'm actually looking forward to both. You know me.
Me too.
I mean,
but if you okay, let's say this. Okay, yeah. Do you watch Stranger Things at all? I'm just wondering.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so my question is this: you're on death row right now, and all three of these shows are basically being released on the same day. There's no pulling back. All the networks believe in their thing. They're just going to go on ahead and let the customer decide on what they're going to stream. So which ones would you go first? Obi-Wan, this is your death sentence now. This is going to be your final show that you're going to watch. So would you go Obi-Wan? Would you go Welcome to Derry? Or would you go Stranger Things?
Oh, wow. Only one?
Yep, only one.
Only one?
Because you only have one life to live.
Wow, that's a big choice there. I'm such a big fan on all of them, but I mean, you know me, and I'm sending you pictures of all my old school little collectibles, and you saw my old school Kenner, Luke Skywalker, and the Wampa, my Super 8 film of A New Hope. So, and finally hearing that Hayden Christensen's coming back as Darth Vader, that's gonna be it's gonna be close. Like if it's 10 points, it's 10 points Star Wars, 9.5 for Derry, and then like a 9 for Stranger Things.
Okay, I got you.
That's how close that race is gonna be. So I'm very excited for all of it. I know we're gonna be talking about this on Tuesday, but I'm also very excited. It's gonna be Stephen King's year. They're remaking Salem's Lot into a feature film coming out September 9th. I'm very excited. The guy that directed the Conjuring movie is going to be producing it, and the guy that directed it, I believe, is going to be the director. So I'm very excited.
Andy Muschietti,
yeah, very excited for that. And also worried. I mean, unless they make it a 3-hour runtime like they did in the 1979 TV special, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of stuff that's cut out. There's so much in depth in his books to be able to fit in a 2.5-2-hour movie.
I agree with you on that. I mean, I hope that they squeeze in enough to where people who are fans of Salem's Lot will actually enjoy it for what it is, for the movie for what it is. Also, too, they're also get this. I didn't know this until I saw Ambulance today. Right? They remade. Matter of fact, they ended up remaking Firestarter.
Right. Yeah, I remember that. Wait, you talking about the older show, Firestarter, or?
Remember the Drew Barrymore movie, Firestarter?
Yes.
They remade that.
I'm a little hesitant on the remakes. I mean, they also remade Carrie, and I wasn't very impressed. And on a side note, Derry is not out this year, but I'm still very much looking forward to it.
Same here as well. But I'm just saying, based off of the cuff, like if let's say for instance that all these shows got made at one time and they had the same release date of this year, which show would we go with first? That's basically what I was doing too.
Oh, it's still going to be Star Wars. But
that's everything that I had wanted to cover as far as this goes, man. But I do appreciate you coming on the show and everything. I know that you have to get back to your son and everything too. But yeah, we're definitely going to talk more about Salem's Lot and everything coming up this Tuesday. So I'm excited to be talking about that.
Yeah, we'll do a little bit more of a deep dive. I'm very excited. Like I said, I've been wanting to come onto the show for a long time now, but you know me, a little busy, bought a house, got kids, got 2 new dogs, so time's a little tight, but I'm very excited for Tuesday. I finally got a relaxing day off from this hectic month.
I'm glad, man. I'm glad that we're able to do this finally because I've been wanting you on the show and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden you say, look, I'm not tied up on Friday or on this Tuesday. So I'm actually happy to have you on for both days. So I'm excited about that. So with that being said, guys, do us this one big favor real quick. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to comment. That also helps us over here at Movie Lovers Unite. Also, too, smash that little notification bell on the bottom right-hand corner to allow you guys to know when we have something new coming out at Movie Lovers Unite. Then, of course, if you want to go on ahead, get yourself an audio-only podcast of our episodes. You can get them on all major platforms where you guys get your podcasts from. Of course, go over to Good Pods. Good Pods is basically social media for podcasters, or if someone that you likes to listen to the podcast. You can actually rate individual episodes. You can also comment on individual episodes. And you can also donate to us that way as well through the Good Pods app. But if you want to, go on ahead. If you want to donate $5 to $10 to us just to keep the lights here on at Movie Lovers Night, go on ahead. Go to buyusacoffee.com/movie lovers. That's how you can donate $5 to $10 over there. But it's just simply smashing that notification button on the right-hand side, commenting below, subscribing to the channel, and also giving us that thumbs up. Also goes a long way here at Movie Lovers Unite. Of course, if you want to, go on ahead and follow me underneath Movie Lovers Unit on Twitter, Movie Lovers Unit 0 on TikTok. And then, of course, go on ahead and email me at movieloversunite@gmail.com if you would like to be on the show or if you're a sponsor. And that's everything that you need to know here at Movie Lovers Unite. Also, too, I just dropped my Moon Knight episode 3 review that we just did last night. All the editing and everything else was done by this morning, and it got dropped this morning. So go on ahead and check out that. And then that's everything that you guys need to know. And always until next time, guys, I can't wait to do this again. Thank you again, Michael. I do appreciate it.
Not a problem. Looking forward to Tuesday.
Same here, man. And always until next time, guys. Bye-bye.